Carolina Reaper pepper. Something. Oh fuck! I can't even read this.
2 minutes, dude.
Iowa.
Fucking Iowa, dude. Fuck you, shit.
Spiciest thing you ever had?
Yeah, dude. The pain and misery.
It's not gonna help me.
What's up? For those who don't know, that was sound bites of Zach losing the Gridiron Garage NCAA Tournament Challenge. How was it, buddy?
Dude, I will say that is the hottest chip that I've ever ate in my life.
The hottest chip?
The hottest thing that I've ever eaten
The
in my
hottest
life.
thing? What have you
Yes.
eaten in comparison?
So I've had
I know you've had Mad Dog,
Mad Dog, and I've had a ghost pepper.
which blew me up. Mad Dog blew me up. It's hotter than a ghost pepper?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have the whole thing, but like I had hot sauce that had ghost pepper in it. And dude, that shit lit me up.
So for anyone listening, if you want to watch this guy get punished, even though he's a lightweight according to the Pacquiao Chip Challenge.
Paqui.
Paqui.
Oh, Pacquiao. Why do I always say Pacquiao?
Pacquiao's a fighter.
Because it knocks him the fuck out. That's why I say Pacquiao. But anyways, go check out our YouTube channel where it is posted. There's also, I think there's a sound clip on Gridiron Garage Instagram.
Yep.
Go check those things out if you want to see him get lit up.
Dude.
He was downing, I think he downed a quarter gallon of milk and 2 donuts.
2 donuts, yeah. I will say the part that got me was when I started crying. When I started crying, that was when I knew, like, okay, I fucked up.
Did you see Griffin's new picture in Group Me?
No.
It's your
What is
face.
Pull
Up.
Pull your phone up.
It's your face.
Is it me crying?
It's like super red and it looks like you're crying.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like you're pouting every time Griff says something. We'll be able to use that picture for the rest of ever, dude.
Dude, I don't care.
Like Zach is salty right now. And it'll just be his face, a little tear coming down.
It'd be like the Michael Jordan meme.
Yeah, you're like the next Michael Jordan meme.
Oh gosh.
That's hilarious, dude. I don't care. Roast me for it, because all I got to say is
Last place.
you eat the fucking or the chip.
No, that was a one-time thing, buddy.
Last.
We'll have to make another
place.
bet for another time.
Dude, I'm down to keep betting that chip because
I'm not doing a chip bet.
Yeah, dude. What you are losing a chip bet. It's your fault.
We gotta do something.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
This dude keeps trying to twist it, keeps trying to make more bets, so we have to eat the chip.
No, we gotta do different.
But fuck him.
We can't reuse content. We gotta make new content. Have a new like punishment.
no, I'm
Maybe
saying
we make
that,
our own chip.
No,
Oh yeah.
not at all. That would actually send somebody to the hospital if we were making redneck
I saw a
chips.
video on a dude trying to make like he was on Hot Ones, or he was gonna be on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
And he made his own, he's a chef and he made his own Hot Ones hot sauce, like his own custom hot sauce that was supposed to be like as hot, and he just like had a crap load of peppers. Just kept blending all these peppers, gotta make this hot sauce. He's like, this is about like 2 million Scoville. And I was like, holy crap.
Oh my god,
Dustin Poirier had his hot sauce on
Yeah,
Hot Ones.
I saw that.
when he went on.
how much is that?
I don't think it's that hot. Like, not. It's actually supposed to taste good.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't think anything on that list is supposed to actually taste good.
Yeah, the dude called him Inferno Wings.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Anyways, any long-term effects or nah?
No, not really.
You seem to be good
well,
after about 30 minutes.
Yeah, after about 30 minutes, I was good. I actually did, when I left here, my head hurt really bad. It was like a weird headache that I've never had before. It was like somebody, like, have you ever hit your head? Like
Dude, that clip of you and your, I feel fine. It's not even hot anymore. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No. My voice sounds funny, though.
oh, at the very end?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So much like mucus built up from how hot it was.
Zach
Anyways,
always in
carry on.
denial. Always in denial.
I
I feel
interrupted him.
fine.
I felt fine.
No, I said, I think I'm starting to come down. I remember, and then I said, man, I sound really weird right now. I did, dude. It was like, there was just so much mucus in my head. I don't know, dude. It was so weird. But I would eat it again if I lost a bet. It wasn't like unbearable for
I think-
long term.
I was a little afraid at first, like before you ate it. I was gonna be really afraid of Jake had to eat it because I know he can't handle stuff like that. But I think what really like scared me off of it for like I thought I would have been fine. I would have hated it, but I thought it would have been fine to do it. But just watching the videos of other people do it, that I now realize just can't take spicy food. That's why they made it look like they were dying. You know what I mean? Or they were like bawling their eyes out, crying. I think I saw these two girls do it, and they like immediately started like freaking out, and one girl was like dry heaving, and they took her to the hospital. I was like, oh my god! But then I realized they probably just couldn't eat spicy food. That's probably what it was.
Well, you two were there obviously the whole time that I was doing it, but the listeners only saw the YouTube video. Like after I started drinking that milk, I really wasn't freaking out that bad.
Yeah.
But before I drank the milk, dude, that shit sucked.
So Jake,
I was like, make it to 2 minutes. Like, no.
I was gonna say, Jake. So he drank a lot of milk because he was in distress. Maybe that's how you get a gallon challenge done in a world record time. You just down a Paqui, and then go, all right, let's get this milk.
Yeah, that was cut out, but I was going for the whole gallon challenge as well.
Yeah, if you just like waited 5 minutes, if you did 5 minutes without it, you'd want that milk so bad. You might be able to beat the record.
I was waiting for it to kick in too. The video is funny. As you can tell when it starts to kick in because it takes you probably about 15 seconds or so to eat the chip just because it's so dry. I could tell you're like, it's dry. That's dry. And I could tell I was like waiting for it to kick in. And I think it started kicking you a little bit because you're like, and you're like, oh.
We just missed the Hot Ones sound effects where it's like, dun. Every time it goes, it's like, dun.
Oh, well.
Oh, gosh.
Bring it back to sports. I ate the chip because I lost March Madness. So be it.
Iowa.
Like I said in the thing, the AAC sucks. Still sucks to this day.
It's all right. You can blame Gonzaga because they were going to carry me and Griff through that whole thing anyway.
Yeah, no. Oh, well. But let's bring it into in a couple weeks, boys. March Madness is over, and now we're moving into the NFL draft. So we've covered this a few times already, but a podcast surrounded by football with no football is like starting a sports podcast with no sports. So
During a pandemic.
So we're just gonna bullshit for the next couple weeks, and then after the draft, just speculate some more. But Jake, you want to lead us off with some draft news here, man?
So we're Bengals fans here at Gridiron Garage, -1.
I still like the Bengals. They're my AFC team. But
And Bengals said that they think their O-line is set, and they're targeting a wide receiver, I believe. Maybe a tight end.
So,
But Griff doesn't want him to draft a tight end, so probably a wide receiver.
I don't know if you saw this, but the Bengals just picked up Thaddeus Moss, tight end.
Did they? I saw that he
player.
got released the other day.
LSU.
Randy Moss's son.
Yep.
Right. But if we bring in Jamar Chase, we're bringing the band back together from the LSU national championship team.
Oh, so then we're going to have a Bengals national champions.
World champions, hopefully. I don't really know much about Thaddeus Moss. Like, he was good in LSU, but he was hurt all of last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who had
I don't
him?
think he got a lot of playing time either. I don't know where it was.
I think it was the Redskins, maybe? Or,
Whoa.
the Washington football team?
Whoa. Yeah, I think it was.
I think that's
I'm
who it
not
was.
sure exactly. I know he didn't play a lot. I don't know if it was because I heard or if he just
The Washington football team, they put their name in an acronym, and every time in my head I go, what the fuck? It's WFT. In my head I'm like, so Miami plays what the fuck?
That's funny.
Oh, shit.
You're like, Washington football team. That's what they are now.
I saw that Dan Snyder wanted to keep the name because...
Yeah, I think they're going to keep it for at least another year. I think they're going to keep it forever now. I think they're just going to keep football team. I like the helmets. I like the number on the helmets. I've always been a fan of that. Classic looking. But I think it should be something
Too
different
old
than
school.
football team. I like it. I think it's different because I like helmets and I like jerseys that are like unique, right? I like the Bengals helmets because they're super unique. They're like the only team that I've seen that
How
does
is the
that.
number on the side unique?
Because there's no other NFL team that does it.
There's other teams that have done it.
Yeah, but not in like how many years? Like it's like a unique thing to like this era.
It's like
I like it.
Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama doesn't. There's some college teams that do it, but like
Yeah, but when you think of
it's-
Alabama, that's like a throwback almost.
yeah, I mean
like they don't change
they've
their
never changed their uniforms.
ever.
I know, but I think like in the NFL, like the time we're in the NFL where everyone's getting like more futuristic and like certain the way things look. I think the Reebok jerseys that are in the NFL, like what the like Cardinals currently are and some of the other teams are. I was never a big fan of them. I thought they were like trying to do too much. I don't know. There's something about a simple, like classic, clean look. I think the helmets are cool. I like it's unique. Now if like a bunch of teams started doing it, I'd be like, all right, this is old. But I don't know. One team doing it, I'm fine with it. I think it looks cool.
The Bengals are supposed to be releasing new uniforms here soon.
Yeah, I saw a funny meme today that their Twitter account posted. So I don't know if you've ever seen the meme where it's got two red buttons. It's got a guy like sweating on which one to press. And it says, announce who we're going to draft or announce the new uniforms. It's got a guy going, I don't know what to press.
That's funny. But I can say now that I was having a conversation with Griff earlier that I would be okay if they took Jamar Chase, but it's going to be one of those things is that come week like 4 or 5 when the offensive line sucks, I'm going to be like, damn it, we need an offensive line.
When offensive line sucks, and we got rid of our best pass blocker in Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah.
So
I saw that.
I'm not sure why they got rid of him. I guess he was just
dirty.
getting old, and
I think
they just paid him for like 4 years though.
Did they really?
No, like 2 years ago they signed him for 4 years or something.
There had to be some
last
way
year.
where they could cut him basically and save money on stuff.
It was
That's
so
probably the
weird.
reason they did
It was
it.
like they just signed him, and I was like, all right, we got him for a little while, and then they cut him. It's like, what?
I did see that he was the longest tenured running back with the team before the Bengals cut him.
Oh, really?
I think that
He'd been with them for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he was on their playoff.
Running backs are flaky.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Bernard.
They're like, dude, I'm going to hold out. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
No, you're not. I won't get you any touches next year.
Don't do it.
Pop trivia. Do you guys know where Gio Bernard went to college?
No. I like his mustache, though. A1 mustache.
Did he go to Oklahoma? Because that seems like the trend for Bengals running
No,
backs.
he went to UNC.
He reminds me of Mario, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's Giovanni.
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 Perfect, dude.
It's me, Gio.
All I'm saying is that he probably wouldn't have fumbled like Jeremy Hill did.
I think
Still salty about that.
I don't think though the Bengals O line is set. I think they need to make more moves.
I agree.
But you know, if you can get a solid athlete, you go get the solid athlete. So I don't know. I'm cool with it. So Griffin, the Cowboys have been talking, Cowboy Twitter out there talking about how they're getting Kyle Pitts. One, is he dropping to you? And two, does this make them the best, in quotations that I've heard on ESPN, the best offense in the NFC?
All they need is Dak Prescott.
So, one, he's definitely not dropping to number 10. There's no way. There's no way he drops that far. He's going like top 8 for sure.
Yeah.
So the only way the Cowboys get
Top 7.
Top 7.
I still don't understand what
no,
that's
this
where
makes
he's going in the draft pick.
In this situation, it makes sense.
The other one made sense too. I'm telling you, I don't think he's a top 5 QB. You say he's in the top 7. Anyway,
He's going to be a top 8
so
draft pick.
I think he's going to be in the top 8 picks. I don't think he's going to fall to number 10. The only way they get him is they trade up. I don't think they're going to trade up. I think Jerry just likes starting narratives. He likes to be like the me guy. Like it's all about me.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry can basically say anything, and then First Take will debate it for an hour. So I think he likes being in the headlines and likes keeping the Cowboys in the headline. Yeah, the only way they get him is they trade, and I just don't think they will. Hypothetically, if they were able to get him, quotations best. As far as skill positions, I could see the argument made. Like it's like just a full team skill position.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy offensive line. If their offensive line were to stay healthy all year and play how they could, I could see the argument made. The thing is, their track record for health and the offensive line has not been good the last 3 years, like at all. So they definitely don't have the best overall offense. Unless, like I said, all the players in their offense stayed healthy, which is like wishful thinking for most NFL teams, especially when you got no line that gets hurt that much.
You got all of Tampa Bay coming back as well.
I know, that's
and
crazy.
Green Bay.
So
So that's two teams that probably would be
Yeah.
tough to beat on
no,
offense.
I agree. But what I'm saying is if you're just going, I guess in Zach's term, on paper, right? Like looking like their wide receivers, running back, quarterback, like on paper, those skill positions, they would look like the best, if not top 3 for sure, in the NFC or maybe in the NFL. But I don't know. I think on paper is different from actual playing, and you got guys.
That's
like
how
Aaron
Tampa Bay
Rodgers.
started.
Yeah,
Last
You're right.
year.
Yeah,
They were like on paper.
Yeah.
You're like,
And then
dude,
they
they're
won the Super Bowl.
like 2-2.
But
Come
then
on, stop this.
I
on
think-
paper.
I think when you look at like
Now they're just etched in the history books.
Yeah, they are.
in my opinion, when you look at an offense in the NFL, the obviously most important thing is the quarterback, right? I think it's pretty obvious. That's the most important position. Then after that, you go offensive line and skill position in whatever order you think's more necessary. So I don't know. It's hard without the offensive line part. I really hope it can stay healthy because with Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, and Tyron Smith all healthy are freaking dope.
I mean, you got to
They're
think
super
that's
good.
That's every team, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're Kansas City Chiefs and
Yeah.
2-3 linemen go out,
I know it sucks.
that's
it really
everyone.
does.
You don't
'cause
have
they
that kind of depth at lineman.
I know, exactly, because they have 2 All-Pro linemen and a Pro Bowl lineman, right? And all 3 of them were missed multiple games last year, and that's what really screwed them. I'm going to go back real quick. My Bengals take real quick. I still think they should draft Sewell. I have come back on a little bit, though. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to have Jamar Chase and stuff like that. I think that just based off what happened to Burrow last year, I think you've got to get that offensive line better. I don't care if you sign Riley Reif, who's good, right? He's really good, but he's not going to make you like, all right, we were like bottom 3 in the NFL on offensive line. Now we're going to be like, top 10. It's not going to happen. They're probably still going to be like worse, like in the 20s in offensive line. Like they're probably going to give up a lot of sacks still, just with him. I think they need to go for the guy that could end up being a stud. And apparently Anthony Munoz wants him to take him too. So, I mean, you got to listen to Munoz, right?
Dude, there's as many Munoz jerseys as AJ Green jerseys that a Bengals get.
But you also got to think about this, that the Bengals, they signed Riley Reef, which was a former first-round pick. They have Jonah Williams, which is a former first-round pick. And if they can get Billy Price healthy and playing good, former first-round pick.
Like I just said, that's wishful thinking. It's the same thing with the Cowboys, though. So you're basically banking on two guys that have had injury-prone careers so far, because Jonah Williams has had two, to play completely healthy and have a good season.
Right. But last year was technically his rookie year, if you think about it that way.
I don't know. I still think if you look at it, Jonah Williams, Riley Reef, I don't think you're going to be a good offensive line still with that. I think you're going to be a lot better, but I don't even know if they're going to be in the top half of the league in offensive line stats. Like, I think they're just still going to struggle and give a lot of sacks and pressures. I don't know. Just what happened to Burrow last year sucked, and I feel like people were doomed to repeat themselves to do the same thing over and over again. You guys, the last time you drafted an offensive or wide receiver that high, what happened? You know what I mean? Not saying he's going to be John Ross, because John Ross is way more injury prone than Jamar Chase is, right? And I think Jamar Chase is a better receiver. But at the same time, you've already got a good receiving core, right? Really, honestly, you guys need a tight end. I think it would make more sense almost to draft Pitts, because you guys need a tight end. You don't necessarily need a receiver, but you need offensive line. And that's the reason I think you should go for that. I could still see the argument made, though, take Jamar Chase and then take another offensive lineman in the second round, because there's a lot of good offensive linemen in this draft, but I just think Sewell's the guy. I think he's going to be really, really good. So that's my pick.
So let me ask you this question. This is going back to a few weeks ago, Griff. So the whole Andy Dalton Cowboys debate, how he had a good offense, but the line was bad. So what if the Bengals have T. Higgins, Boyd, Jamar Chase, Mixon, and Burrow? Is that a good offense?
Yeah, it's a good offense,
you agree
but
with
the
that?
offensive line probably is going to suck. It's going to be like the Cowboys boat, where Dak was making plays. He's like a real good playmaker, but he literally was like having to run around everywhere to do it. It's the same thing with the Russell Wilson thing, too. And the good thing is Joe Burrow's mobile enough to do that. He's mobile enough to make plays. I keep seeing haters on Twitter saying, oh, he's just going to get sacked a bunch. He can't move anymore. He's got a torn ACL. Dude, there's players that tear their ACL and come back in no time now, and they still end up balling out. Like, look at what Deshaun Watson did. Tore his ACL as a rookie and came back and balled out. So I think he's mobile enough to do that, but at the same time, you can't get away from everything, right? And eventually he's going to get sacked and hurt himself. When Carson Wentz, before he tore his ACL, right, he was running all over the place too, but he still ended up getting hurt. Players get hurt, and I think you need to protect your quarterback pretty much at all costs, especially if he's your franchise guy.
What do you want me to do about it?
No, I was like,
I
saying,
thought you were talking about my dog. For everyone that's listening, my dog barking.
No.
There's probably some lady up there going, why the fuck aren't you vegan yet?
because I can see your veins through your neck.
I get that stuck in my head sometimes.
Oh, gosh.
I'll be sitting there saying it in my head. I'm like, fuck me, dude. This sucks.
Do you know what we're talking about, Griff?
No.
Have you never seen that video?
No.
Oh my
I
god.
kind of don't want to see it.
I mean, you can just listen to it because it's fucking hilarious.
Anyways, my dog distracted me. What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Bengals.
Fuck, aren't you vegan?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
'Cause I can see your veins sticking out your neck.
You ever seen that lady?
No, I know you're talking about.
Oh, people make fun of her all the time.
No, I've seen her. Jesus.
Oh shit.
Yeah, back to the task at hand, though. On paper, and right, you look at just the Cowboys, they definitely have a top 3 offense in the NFL, I'd say, like skill position wise. I think everyone healthy, it's really good. But big issues: health, defense.
Who's your backup this year?
Backup, who would it be now?
Ooh.
Probably Garrett Gilbert.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well,
Him or Andy Dalton?
one thing I want to say: Garrett Gilbert played one game when Andy got hurt, and he threw 3 touchdowns
Ooh.
and barely lost to the Steelers.
Ooh.
Defense choked it.
You know who beat the Steelers?
Yeah.
Ryan Finley.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way: Garrett Gilbert put up enough points to beat the Steelers if he had a normal defense, because the defense just got like Ben Roethlisberger torched him.
Oh, so Ben's elite?
No. Actually, I wouldn't even say torched him. He just like made big throws. I was like, come on, dude. He's like got a stone arm.
Are we done with our Homer minutes?
I guess so.
All right. So there are some QBs in the QB draft this year, and it seems like they're all going to go pretty high from what I've been hearing. A couple to be named: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, probably the top 5. Is any of these QBs, do you guys believe, will be a success in the NFL?
Yeah.
Which one?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. I think he'll be a success in the NFL.
With the Jags?
I think so.
It's a tough.
Oh,
It's a
dude.
tough call to ask.
I
right
think
there.
the Jaguars are going to turn it around. I mean, they got a new head coach. They have the most salary cap in the league.
If
Like,
They're going to make some moves.
If they spend some money,
They
think they'll
were
be all right.
they were like a minute away from being in the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles at quarterback, and then Tom Brady'd them. So, I mean, like I think they could do it for sure. If Trevor Lawrence ends up being really, really good, they already got good receivers there. DJ Chark is a badass. He's super good. And then Laviska Shenault was a rookie last year who was super, super good too, underrated receiver. So receiving core, they got some good receivers there. Their running back's really good. I cannot remember his name for the life of me now, but he's like a little bowling ball, just runs people over, and he's fast. James Robinson, I think is his name. James Robinson.
I want to know what the ownership was thinking with trading away Jalen Ramsey and Leonard Fournette.
I think they saw that they weren't going to compete, and they wanted to tank, essentially. I think they got a bunch of cap space from it and everything.
Teams are tanking.
Yeah, teams tank all the time. The Bengals did it 1 year too. So,
What do you think about that order? Because this is coming from Cubase 2.0, which is the brand new advanced statistic. And
Oh, you tried to walk me right into that front door, didn't you?
what this is basically rating college quarterbacks on if they will be a success in the NFL by using their statistics. And I kind of like how it works because they can, I mean, any formula that you put into the system, you can go back 5-10 years and run it and see how it worked out, you know? So you run it back, and I guess this is the best formula they found that have like predicted successful quarterbacks from the past like 10 years. And they're using this formula, which is now apparently more based on throwing and running, like a dual threat, than it is on just a pocket passer anymore.
Yeah.
But the order is Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. That's the order Cubase has it been.
The only thing I like Fields over Lance. I think Fields is better than Lance.
I do like Fields. I think Fields is pretty good.
I like Fields.
I agree with that 100%. That list that you just read.
You like that order?
I think Trey Lance
Big stats guy.
over Justin
Advanced
Fields.
statistics, Zach Curtis.
Yeah. I love stats.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to say they're going to be bad. I talked about the last episode about like overdrafting QBs because everyone wants to get their guy. You know what I mean? I still think that'll probably hold true. Like statistically, not all 5 of these guys are going to be franchise quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if all 5 of them go, even if all 5 go in the top 10 or were to do that. But
My thing with Justin
Justin
Fields is the argument that we had probably 2 months ago with Jalen Hurts and Tua. Like, if you put any quarterback on an Alabama football team, they're going to be good, right? More than likely.
I mean, if
'Cause
they're a good quarterback,
Right.
they probably have good numbers.
But they have the highest skilled players at every position because everybody wants to play at Alabama because Nick Saban's great and all that stuff. I feel like that's how Justin Fields was playing at Ohio State, to where he had the top players in almost every category that made him ball out higher.
Yeah. Well, so did Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but I don't know. Trevor Lawrence is more of a quarterback guy to where he can read defenses and like a pocket presence guy. Justin Fields is like a Lamar Jackson to where if it breaks down, he's scrambling and he has the ability to do that because
Lamar
he's
kind
small
of had
fast.
an
Just-
MVP.
What's that?
Lamar Jackson kind of had an MVP.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
And I also
I'm not
wanna
dogging.
say-
I'm not dogging
I
Lamar
also wanna
Jackson.
say,
I'm not talking him.
I think he's more of a passer than you're leading on to believe because in that when he sold me in that semifinal game when they beat Clemson because he basically almost broke his ribs, barely ran the ball the rest of the game and threw for like 400 yards. Like
I
just
think Fields is good.
He just
from what I've
whipped
seen.
the Clemson defense. Like just threw the ball all over him. And
The
he was
only
balling
argument
out.
that I've seen that says he's not good is that his first read comes open too much when playing for Ohio State. And I'm like, what do you want him to do?
terrible.
He's going to not throw the ball to the
Yeah,
open guy?
throw to the open guy. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Honestly, it'd be more of a bad thing if he's like, oh, he's open, but
it's literally the only.
I should go for my third read to prove to the scouts that I can go through my progression. So I'm just going to leave the open 75-yard touchdown and check down.
Yeah, it's
But
like,
let's think about it this way. Or go ahead. Sorry.
well, I mean, it's really the only argument that's valid because you can bring up like all these crazy stats from Justin Fields, and like no matter what you say, you could use that argument against him. You'd be like, well, his first read was open. You're like, yeah.
This might bite me in the ass too. But the only reason I'm not sold on Lance is that like one, he didn't play all last year, which I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't play last year and they're going to go out to the draft and probably still be good. So that's not really like the main reason, but more so like the competition, playing like a bunch of D2 people. He basically balled out his 2 years ago when he played his full whatever year that was, and then last year he had his one game show out and he almost lost. Like he almost lost the game. He still played well, but I don't know. I just think playing against the SEC and playing against like the Big Ten and teams like that is going to prepare you a lot more than playing against like D2 schools. Not saying he's going to be bad. There's definitely been D2 players that have played really well. Carson Wentz came to mind. Pre-injury, he was in one MVP and came out of the same school as Trey Lance. But then obviously now he's, Carson Wentz.
So don't take this as me saying that the other guy is not, but I see Trevor Lawrence more of a Tom Brady presence to where he, I'm sure early on Tom Brady could run, but Tom Brady...
No. Never could.
Probably.
Did you ever see his 40 times?
Ran his 40 in cargo shorts.
No. I'm saying better than 43-year-old Tom Brady. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but he still could never run.
Right.
Probably less than Trevor Lawrence.
We're talking slower than Andy Dalton. Slow.
Right. But Trevor Lawrence, I feel like, has that pocket presence. He is calm in the pocket, even if it's collapsing, can go through all his progressions. Leadership on the field. I feel like even Dabo Swinney respected the shit out of what's his name? Trevor Lawrence. Not saying that he didn't do that for Deshaun Watson, but I think that will translate into the NFL better. The way that Justin Fields reminds me of is more of a Lamar Jackson kind of guy. Lamar Jackson is great, but look what the Ravens kind of are doing as Lamar Jackson goes throughout his career, trying to bring him back into the pocket, less runs, even though he's still breaking out with runs. But I just feel like a running quarterback doesn't last as long as a Tom Brady will last.
See, and that's the one point I differ is I don't think Justin Fields is a running quarterback. I think he's a passer. I think he's a passer.
He's a playmaker, though.
Yeah, he's a passer that can run. He reminds me more of Deshaun Watson, where he can throw the ball really well, and if the pocket breaks down, he can make a play out of it. They didn't really run a whole lot of this design runs. You look at Louisville's old tape when he was there, Lamar. It was half of their run plays were quarterback design runs, and Justin Fields did that more so his first year with Ohio State, and then they cut back on it because then he started throwing bombs. And last year they didn't really do it a whole lot. They do it on a third and short or something if they need a yard or two, similar what Cam Newton does. But he's not Cam Newton. He's not that big. But he was more, it was throwing the ball. If they ran the ball, I don't even have the stats, but I would venture to say that there was this low percentage of their run plays actually being quarterback runs. I feel like most of his yards probably came off scrambles and stuff like that. I think he's more of a passer because he's got a really good arm. And you want to talk about leadership? Almost breaking your ribs, semifinal game, and you go out and whoop the favorite to win the championship, the number one team, and the potential number one overall pick.
That's one game, though.
That was the whole.
Tom Brady's been doing it for 20 years.
So, okay, and here's another thing, too. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is Tom Brady. I think they're different skill sets. He's got a way stronger arm than Tom Brady. Not saying Tom Brady had a noodle arm in his career because he had a strong arm when he was younger, but he's also way more mobile than Tom Brady. He's fast. Trevor Lawrence can, run. And he's not as a runner. It's the same deal. They probably hardly ever do any QB runs with him. The one game against Ohio State, I think it was 2 years ago, he had a freaking 60-yard run. He just busted, and he was leaving people. He has some wheels, surprisingly, and he's 6'6".
Well, going back to what you were saying is where Ohio State probably called more run plays, but I feel like we'll compare it to he wants to be a Cam Newton, but he's not a Cam Newton because he's not built like Cam Newton. Cam Newton also had
Watson.
Christian McCaffrey.
I would say Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
he's obviously not you can't really
no,
compare
but you
him
just
because
said
he's in college.
Cam Newton.
No, I said similar to how they would only use him to run the ball on short downs. I think most of their design run plays was a 3rd and 1 or something like that, and even then they were probably still handing it off to Trey Sermon, who was an awesome running back. I think you'd be surprised how much you went back and looked at how little actual design quarterback runs they ran. Most of them were probably read options if they ran them, but I think most of their plays were just actual run plays. I think he got most of his rushing yards off scrambles.
It's also Ohio State. There's
sure.
What are we going to do? Well, we're going to run it, and we'll just move the guys out of the way.
Yeah, and we're going to get more yards. Yeah,
and then if we don't make it to the Big Ten title game, we'll cry about it, and then we'll get in.
I think he's more of a passer than some people in the media are kind of leading on. I think they're making it seem like all he can do is run the ball. And
I'm excited.
A really good
I hope
arm.
he gets a starting job.
He's got a really good arm.
I'm not sure he will, but I hope he does.
I think that.
I think
San Francisco should take him. I think he'd be really good in San Francisco's offense because I think he's got a better arm than Trey Lance from just what I've seen, and they need to be able to run those play actions. Having someone quick, and to be fair, Trey Lance is a fast guy too. He can actually, he's the same style. I don't think Trey Lance is a running quarterback. I think he's a playmaking quarterback like Deshaun Watson. But having that style, because they run a lot of boots and they run a lot of play action out of Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think having a guy that's mobile, unlike Jimmy G or something like that, or any of the other guys they've had, I think getting out wide in those boots, look for passes, and then having the option to run it and play make, I think would be super, super good. Yeah. So I think it's close. I like Justin. I'm going with the guy that's played better competition in that case. I think they're pretty close though.
I would take Trevor Lawrence, but I just
I'm talking about Trey Lance,
Yeah.
Justin Fields. I take Trevor Lawrence as number one for sure.
I just want what's his name?
Zach.
Well, while you're looking that up, I just want to clarify. I'm not hating on Justin Fields. I think that he will be a great quarterback. But to me, it's kind of like Tua coming out, to where Tua had so much hype, and then I feel like he kind of fizzled a little bit at the Dolphins. But Tua still has potential. That's all I want to say.
I just want to see Justin Fields get a starting job. I think it'd be a shame for him to go through and not get a starting job just because he plays for Ohio State and Ohio State's too good. Like, if Ohio State lost, it's all Justin Fields' fault. But Ohio State
I think
wins.
it's dumb. I agree.
And it's not.
Because you could literally make the same argument for Lawrence. Like, the only reason Trevor Lawrence is good is because literally Clemson's had top 2 recruiting classes the last 5 years.
He has some
them in
touch.
Alabama. He does.
I like that. He will literally
good.
like drop the passes over top of defenders. Like you don't see many college quarterbacks doing that.
So, I don't know.
I think that Justin Fields needs a young head coach. I feel like that would...
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I agree with
49's
that.
a good fit.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was some good talk. Do we want to talk about the next two or skip to MLB?
Skip.
Let's skip it?
Yeah, I think we should skip it. It's
All
too
right.
controversial.
We will move on to MLB.
Even though you name dropped the guy like 1,000 times already.
Griffin was.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't drop him once. It's fine. Anyways, moving on to MLB. Actually, I got tricked by a little bit of fake news out here.
Uh-oh.
So the story I was going to talk about is Trevor Bauer's ball being removed from play from inspections. So there was a big report that came out. ESPN tweeted it out and everything. And it said specifically Trevor Bauer's ball was taken out of play for inspection. In reality, they took handfuls of multiple pitchers, like 10 plus, 20 plus pitchers out of play. And the story report only said Trevor Bauer.
Yep.
So the story is trying to get us to click on it.
Witch hunt. It's a witch hunt.
So I feel kind of tricked by the fake news here.
Uh-oh.
But Gridiron Garage, we don't report fake news.
Nope.
Anyways,
Ever.
we'll still talk about Trevor. Why not? But Trevor was upset because his ball got taken out first because that's what he was led to believe as well. And Trevor's already on the verge. He said, how can they prove it's me?
I mean,
Well, you kind of just admitted it.
I mean, we kind of brought this up ahead of time, though. It's like,
How can they
you know,
prove it?
Like, it literally, like, say it's pine tar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how much pine tar is, like, on a baseball bat? What are the odds that they foul
All
it
over
off?
the field,
Yeah,
on the bat,
all over the field.
on
like,
gloves, on players.
Like, there could be a trace substance of pine tar, and they'd be like, oh, yep, Trevor Bauer cheated. You know what I mean? And it could have came from anywhere.
I don't know if MLB players did this, but I always did this when I would like get my mitt and I would just put it on over top of my batting glove.
Yeah.
I don't know if you use pine tar, if you make that move, or if you take off your batting glove.
Well, how
and
many
put your glove
pitchers
on.
in the MLB have batting gloves?
You're not allowed. But other players are that touch the ball all the time.
Yeah.
So they're constantly carrying literally globs of pine
Or
tar.
like
with
if
you.
a batter fouled a ball off and it is at his feet and he picks it up with his hand and then throws it back.
But I think it's kind of bullshit that they actually did pick Trevor Bauer's ball because Trevor Bauer was the whistleblower for like 3 years, literally tweeting out, like subtweeting, talking about Garrett Cole, talking about other pitchers that he's literally called out by name for using pine tar.
Yeah.
And he's one of the first people they pick out to choose their ball. It's kind of a dick move by MLB.
The only way to be 100% sure that, okay, this is you that did this, and they would never do this because they would get so much hate. The MLB would not recover from this. If they literally witch hunted Trevor Bauer, right? They did it in like the third inning, right? So he goes out for the third inning, brand new baseball, first time he touches it, right? And they wait till right when he's about to wind up, and they call the game and stop, and they go out and take the ball to see if he did something to it. Like the first time he touches it, a brand new
before it
ball,
touches anyone else.
before it touches anyone else, to see if he did something in the glove or whatever it was, wherever he were to hide it, right? If he did do
Theoretically,
something.
that could be
Yeah.
a scenario. Even before you say that, if he throws first pitch foul ball and they get the ball back, no one else has touched it.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, but then you could also make the thing, well, maybe there was some trace substance on the bat. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If it's like, say it's the first time, ump pulls out a fresh ball, the ump doesn't have anything on him, throws it to Bauer, he catches it, kind of does his little pre-pitch routine, might, rub something on there if he is doing it, right? And then he gets really is right about to wind up, and then they say, ump calls the game, and then some MLB official comes out and says, let me get the ball, right? That'd be the only way to be able to do it, and they would get so much hate because they'd be like, you're just targeting Trevor Bauer, especially if it came back and was like, oh, it's negative, there's no substance on there at all. Trevor Bauer would have a field day. Momentum would gain so many more subscribers. You know what I mean? Like he would literally have a field day with that if that were to happen. I don't think the MLB would ever do that though.
But when this story came out, there was a trending video of, I'm not sure quite his name. I probably should have looked it up, but he was an Orioles pitcher that absolutely dealt. Like one hit, like 7 innings. And there's a video of him literally holding the baseball in his mitt and touching the inside of his glove. And you can see the glove pulling off with his finger, and then he just grabs the ball and pitches. And then, Look at this, dude. Like, how you gonna pick Trevor Lawrence or not Trevor Lawrence? How you gonna
Bauer.
pick Trevor Bauer when you can like literally this is going viral on the internet right now? This guy grabbing his glove and pitching for the Orioles.
Yeah.
Probably making like $40 an hour pitching for the Orioles. Literally throwing a one hitter. Come on,
Dude, I am ready. I am ready for more Trevor Bauer versus MLB saga though. It's super entertaining.
So
I
Trevor
love
Bauer
it.
will make an absolute saga out of it. It's gonna be awesome.
$40 a second.
And I could see him doing the whole deal, taking it legally and going all the way. Like I could see him doing it.
Yeah.
So I think this will be fun. This will be probably an entire year of unraveling this problem.
I love it.
And I have a feeling the MLB might just give up on it.
So what
It
I
might
wanna-
be like, this shit's way too gone. Every pitcher's doing it, and we can't stop it.
so the MLB probably the most I could say probably the most inconsistent like ownership or like league.
I would agree.
As far as like they turned a blind eye for steroids for forever until basically Jose Canseco wrote that book and all right, we should better do something now. It looks like we're like terrible because it makes us look like we knew about this, right? And they did. And so they did that forever, hardly did anything, and then they decided, okay, ban hammer, we're gonna make all these people where it's really hard to get in the Hall of Fame and all that stuff like that, right? Then you get something like the Astros where they're just blatantly cheating, and I think everyone's pretty sure they definitely did something, whether it was to the extent of the trash cans, the buzzers, whatever you believe.
no doubt.
They definitely did something to actually cheat. And there may have been a couple more teams. And all that happened was the team said, all right, we'll fire our managers and it's cool. And they're like, huh, works for us. You know what I mean? Like there was literally nothing that bad happened to the Astros except for the fact that they fired their manager and then they hired Dusty Baker, who, I'll agree with you, Zach. I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a great manager. But still, like they still got a good manager out of it, right? And then they got to keep essentially everything else. No draft picks got taken away, no fines, no nothing, right? And then now they're going to this foreign substance things. Oh, we got to crack down on this. Like, this is blatant cheating. It was like, you really had a team that did, like, the one bad thing that cheating can accomplish, and that's winning the championship. If you cheat your way to a championship, that's like the most egregious thing in sports, I'd say, for any sport, right? You had a team that actually did it, you did nothing, and now you got a guy who like won a Cy Young last year, and now I guess he is on the best team. But still, like they haven't, no one's won a championship yet, as we know of, from the Pine Tar thing, except maybe Garrett Cole with the Astros that 1 year, right?
Well,
Could say that, but-
it's a thing that's like, if the other team's doing it, you can't say that the Pine Tar made us win the championship.
yeah, exactly. But for like the trash can buzzer thing, right? That very obviously helped them hit the ball better because they were hitting the crap out of the ball that entire playoff.
You know what I
run.
believe with that whole situation is that the MLB's covering their own ass, and it's more than the Astros.
Oh, I could definitely see that.
I think there's multiple teams caught up in this entire thing, and they were like, oh shit, this is really bad for our image. And I think they just spun the narrative, threw that shit on top of the Astros. That's why they always like buddy with the Astros, because, hey, but we kind of fucked you.
Yeah.
Like, that's why they're like, you didn't suspend anyone. Like, oh, they're taking their punishment, and that's us putting every single piece of blame on this team.
Because I think also, too, like the Red Sox, I know they fired their coach. I don't know if there's just trash cans. I think it was more so stealing sign stealing and stuff is what they got in trouble for.
I think there's a lot that the public doesn't know.
Oh, for sure. But I could also see it being a thing where if the MLB knew about it, didn't do anything about it, then everyone else found out about it, and then the MLB was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, they all caught on. We didn't think they would.
The
we
thing
knew
is,
about
they
this for
know
a
about
while.
things before we know.
Yeah, and they like say nothing and
And
act
they
like nothing
ignore it
happened. Yeah.
until like the fans are like, "What the fuck, MLB?" And they're like, "Oh shit, this is bad, guys."
Yeah.
Not our fault, their fault.
I don't know.
This might be
Rob
like
Manfred's a clown.
this might be an off the wall take, but like it, could be fun to speculate on. Do you think that there's some type of mob, like high up in the MLB?
The MLB is a mob, bro.
The NWO, New World Order.
No, but wouldn't that be kind of crazy to think about? Like if like the mob is controlling the MLB somehow.
I don't think the
You
mob
hear-
has that big of
you
a
hear the
presence
mob-
anymore. It'd be something different.
Yeah,
More
you
like-
hear the mob used to take like percentage on like concrete tax in New
Yeah.
York City.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Oh,
So
yeah, it's crazy.
you would buy like a piece of land and 2% goes to the mob.
Huh.
And then when you got like your building permits, another 2% went to the mob.
They used to run. You need to watch The Sopranos, dude. They do even that. Like they used to run stuff in like New York City and Chicago and the big cities. It's
How real is
insane.
that though?
Dude,
Oh, for sure, real.
For sure?
Like there's I don't know if there's this guy. Is it Michael Francis? Watch some of his interviews. He talks about all the stuff. Like even with like they used to have city people in their pockets because they knew there was these elected officials that the mafia could literally sway the vote and make sure they got elected. So they would have them in their pockets. They would have all the union contracts in their pockets. They make money off that. Even like he goes, there are some big name collegiate athletes, not as much in like professional sports because most of them made good money. You know what I mean? So they didn't get intertwined with that. they made money off betting, off people basically point shaving and throwing games in college sports mainly. He said because collegiate athletes didn't make any money, right? So they come to them and said, "Hey, we'll pay you this much if you make sure this happens," and they'd make a bunch of money off it, and then they give money to the guy that did it. And then said some like MLB, NFL players, but it was typically like crappy players that like didn't get paid a lot of money, and they would be doing the same thing. But like they had like everyone in their pocket. They were making money in so many ways. And then the RICO Act basically busted them all because back then it was like, all right, you can catch one guy for doing it, and then you can arrest the one guy. There's still 20, 30 more of them, right, that can do it from their mafia, from their gang, right? Then the RICO Act made it with racketeering where you can charge a boss and charge a whole group of people for like something they did as a group. So then, right, the entire mafia would go down. So that's basically what killed it. But yeah, stuff like that definitely happened. I don't know to quite the extent, but the guy basically talks about everything. He doesn't go into details. He says, I'm not indicting anyone, but this is what we did. It's pretty crazy.
This has nothing to do with sports, but have you guys seen the thing on the top 10 Netflix that says this is a robbery?
No. I have not.
No. So I watched that over the weekend, and it was it'll tie into the mob, but pretty much in Boston in 1990, there were these two cops that allegedly were cops. Like they were wearing Boston police uniforms, and they walked into an art gallery that had like a bunch of famous paintings and stuff like that. They buzzed in at like 1 o'clock in the morning, tied up the two security guards, and then the two like cops walked around for I think it was 81 minutes without like any alarms going off or anything like that, and they stole $500 million worth of art.
I've heard about this actually,
and so to this day it's still unsolved. But the thing that gets me is because they think that it was mob people who did it, but they're offering a $10 million reward to return the art, and I guess no questions asked.
Yeah.
But if you had $500 million worth of art in your possession, do you think that you would just turn it in for $10 million?
I don't know what you do with it. How do you sell it,
I watched the video of this once too, because there's a guy.
Like, oh, that's whatever's piece from the art museum.
Monet.
You know? Like,
No.
It's
So
supposed to, if it's worth that much money, it's obviously one of a kind.
Yeah.
And how could you get away with selling something
There's
that's
one piece that's like really big. So that's what I'm saying. Like if
Monet or something.
Yeah, like if somebody were like, "Oh, here, there's that piece,"
I wouldn't trust them.
Where'd you get it from?
No way I'd trust them. $10 million, no question asked.
Yeah, right.
Two things real quick. One, I've seen this before. Real quick, was one of the security guards? Did they talk about him being like a Grateful Dead, like stoner type guy or rock and roll? Yeah. So that's the same one I've heard about. We can talk about this on another podcast. I can tell you about it later. I don't want to get too deep into that because this is the sports one. But the other one, as far as like selling that stuff. So I watched a video on, you've probably seen them pop up and recommended before, but they'll pop up where it's like, I'm a former this, here's what I did, I'm a former this. And one of them was a former jewel thief, and he was talking about how basically he would steal jewels and sell them, and they have things called a fence. And so that's literally the term for it. And then you said you have a fence for jewels, you have a fence for art, you have a fence for handguns, you have a fence for this. And they specifically work on underground selling stuff, right? So you don't go to like make deals around people say, hey, I got this Monet here, you want to buy it? Here's $500 million. Yeah. So they sell it to a fence who might buy it for, it might be a $500 million painting, and he's able to, buy it from you for $200 million, and he's able to sell it to some super rich like Saudi prince or someone overseas that it's not going to get found until a lot later and completely under the radar, and he'll sell it for the full price then. So it's not like you're going and selling to the super rich people. You're selling to someone who will buy it for that much, and then who will sell it off to someone else that you won't get caught. So he said he had stuff for jewels, right? He would steal diamonds and steal rubies and all this stuff. And so he'd sell it for like, half the price of what it's actually worth, but he'd still be making a ton of money off of it. And then that guy would go and piece it out to other things. They do it with gold too, where they would sell gold to these fences that were stolen, and they'd melt it down and then sell it as little pieces to all these other people and stuff like that. So that's kind of how those work. To an extent.
That's what they speculate because once they offer the $10 million reward, there was like phone calls coming up saying, oh, we saw this piece in France, we saw this piece in Saudi Arabia, we saw this. And so that's what they're speculating is that whoever took it, sold it. Yeah. But the thing is, and last thing we can move on. So these paintings are very notorious paintings, and they were framed very nicely. Instead of stealing the frame, these fuckers cut them.
Yeah.
They just cut them out of the frame.
Isn't that crazy?
You'd be fast.
Yeah.
What's that?
You gotta be fast.
Well, so
that's what the speculation is, that it was an inside job because, like I said, they spent 81 minutes in this gallery with like them knowing that the police weren't going to show up.
One last quick thing real quick. So the thing I saw was on like this Unsolved Mysteries thing, and they were talking about that, and they go through all these theories about like, kind of BS ones and also more reliable ones. But one of the ones that was kind of BS, but they said they were talking about that security guard who was like a Grateful Dead. He supposedly was on acid the night before he like went through his shift and all stuff like that. He was like a real goofy looking dude and real goofy guy. And someone said, "Is this guy the greatest criminal of all time? Did he just fool the entire police thinking he's just some like acid blowing junkie that like works as a security desk, or was he like did he fake tie himself up, let the thieves go in and steal it for a cut of the money, and he's like has the money hidden somewhere?" So that's one of the conspiracies.
Yeah, they think that that's true because he put in his like notice like a couple days before it happened, and they asked him like, "So why'd you put in your notice? Like, did you know this was going to happen?" And he was like, "Man, it was cutting in with time with the band, bro."
Can you imagine how poor timing though? It's like you put your 2 weeks notice in at this art gallery that has super rich paintings. It gets robbed while you have your notice in, and then you're a suspect. You're like, crap, dude, I just wanted to quit and go do drugs with my band.
That's funny.
Anyway, this isn't sports at all. But
Let's bring it back to the sports.
Back to MLB. So the MLB itself is actually nutting all over themselves this week because their favorite team threw a no-hitter. Joe Musgrove threw a no-hitter against the Texans this week, or maybe last week, whenever you listen to this.
Sometime.
Very interesting stuff because the MLB loves the Padres, so you're going to be seeing this for a long time if you are an NFL fan. Also, the catcher has caught 2 consecutive no-hitters,
That is pretty crazy.
which brings the question,
Caratini, baby.
is how important is a catcher making calls down there at home plate?
Oh, dude, super important.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know I didn't play like high level baseball. I went to JV, but I sucked as a catcher, bro. And when you had a good catcher back there, the pitcher was better. I mean, you know that.
So when you have, most teams have 2 catchers, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you swapped them out a game, do you think it can make like a huge like 3-4 run difference between what catchers back there during a certain game?
I don't think it's play calling. I think it's more chemistry.
Think so?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's more so chemistry. I agree with Zach. I mean, when John Lester pitched with the Cubs, the only catcher he used was David Ross. Because he'd been with David Ross in Boston, and he was with the Cubs. That's the only person. So the only time David Ross ever played was if Contreras needed a night off for another pitcher, or if Lester was pitching. So Contreras was obviously a better player, probably a better defensive catcher, but he felt way more comfortable throwing pitches to David Ross, and he just like pitched better when he was behind the plate. So, because there was a time when Ross missed a game because of an injury, and Lester had a bad game. And then the next game he went out with David Ross and had like 1 run. You know what I mean? So he definitely, I think chemistry thing is definitely a big thing there.
But let's think about this. What if that catcher was in with Trevor Bauer and he figured out his substance? And maybe the catcher is the one making the pitchers throw the no-hitters.
That was my question. Do you throw a no-hitter or do you catch a no-hitter? Should we name the catcher and say blank caught a no-hitter?
I think the catcher is important, but I think that it's also the pitcher's got to throw it.
I do also think I definitely, when I played baseball, had my favorite catchers over other catchers. I would never tell them that.
Yeah.
I'm not a dickhead like John Lester is.
He's also making millions of dollars. And you were doing it for fun.
Still a dick move. Okay, bro, let me catch you. Fuck you, dude. Give me Ross over there.
I think you'd be surprised at how many pitchers actually do that, though, where there's like a certain catcher that catches them, even if it's not the better player. Yeah, I think it happens more than you think.
And a reason why I think that was a valid question is about catching no-hitters is that he called a fastball 7% of the time during that no-hitter. Is the least amount of fastballs ever thrown in a no-hitter. And do you think that's a coincidence? I think not. You think that catcher made an observation of what's working in that game?
Yeah,
See,
probably.
another catcher could have been in that game throwing 30% fastballs, giving up 4 runs and 3 dingers.
We also got to think about the catcher, too. I mean, in the MLB, more than likely, the catcher is the one calling the game, but the coaches still do call it from the bench sometimes.
I have no idea how it gets called. I've been on teams where the coaches call it, and I think it's a bunch of loaded crap. But
yeah,
I could also see that analytics is such a big part of baseball that they don't want the catcher making the calls; they'd want a coach making the calls.
And I agree with that. And it's also when the coaches call it from the bench, it's a load of crap because they're not actually back there. And again, I played JV baseball, so it's not like high level, but they're not back there to see exactly where the umpire is like, okay, he's giving you an inch off the corner, or, you know, he likes where I line up like this. Like, they're not back there unless they're standing literally behind the backstop. Like, I think that the catcher should have complete control of it unless it's a high situation game to where you put the game in the coach's hand. So he can be like, I was the one who fucked this up. This is my team.
Oh.
I think if you definitely watch, you can definitely tell catchers look over at their manager a lot of times, right? Like, so the catcher will like peek over at the manager, and like, I think the manager can overrule them, but I think most catchers call a lot of the pitches with the pitcher, and the pitcher will obviously shake them off, say, no, I want to throw this, and they'll be like, okay, let's do that. But I think there's definitely some situations where the manager, like, they'll look over at the manager and he'll give them a sign and they'll say, all right, let's do that.
I mean, they're allowed to do what they want because
for
the
sure.
pitcher's allowed to shake them off.
No, I 100% believe that. That's what I'm saying. I think most of the game's called by pitcher, but I think they will look over certain situations to the manager. I think the manager's given more so, hey, just pitch around him. You know what I mean? I think they're saying, hey, just like they might give him a sign saying, hey, don't give him anything to hit. If he starts swinging and missing, that's fine. But this guy, we don't want to give Mike Trout anything to hit or whatever. I think it's more so that stuff versus every single time he looks at the manager and the manager's going fastball, curveball. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's like telling them certain things like, hey, here's how we want to play this because we got this guy on deck. We need to attack this guy. Or we got this guy up and the guy behind him cannot hit this pitcher. Let's just pitch around this guy. It's all right if we walk him. We want to get the other guy out. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more so stuff like that.
I think that the coach should be giving the catcher the bunt coverage. I agree with that because they're the ones who have the first-hand analytics to be like, okay, this is what works majority of the time. I mean, would you agree with that?
I think if you're going to call a game, I think the catcher has a way better feel than
I agree
a
with
manager or a coach that's sitting on the side. They
agree
can
with
see how full the hitter was on the last pitch, where they missed, down, up, out, early, slow. It's just easier to feel it as a catcher. As in bunt coverages and stuff, they already have that memorized.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Well, no, I'm saying like the coach should be the one calling the coverage. Like I know that they know what they're doing, but like, hey, we're gonna run this coverage because like I want this to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I will say as a catcher, it feels damn good calling the game and you win.
Yeah.
I know that they've done it multiple times, but
Multiple times.
but
They
like,
give pro catchers called multiple victories.
well, like
should catchers get a win stat?
Should they?
Just like the
Yes.
pitchers.
That is actually pretty entertaining right there.
Yeah.
To look at a catcher's win. I mean, you'd get fucked if you're on the Orioles, though.
why you hating on the Orioles so much tonight?
They're the worst team, right? They have been the past couple of years.
Yeah, but like they literally have nothing to do with the Reds. They're not relevant at all.
They were relevant because of the pine tar incident earlier. That's why they're
I want to
relevant.
point something else too. This is about the Pirates pitching, but someone showed a stat and it was like this season, but former Pirates pitchers in the MLB that they like let go or just didn't re-sign. So I don't know all of them, but they showed all of them around there, like within the last like six years or so. But it was like guys like Garrett Cole, Joe Musgrove, Charlie Morton, Trevor Williams, like all these other pitchers that they had over the last 6 years. I think combined they were like, what was it? It was like 8-1 with like a 1.02 ERA and a no hitter or something like that. It was like former Pirates pitchers that don't pitch for the Pirates anymore or something like that.
Well, their ERAs are bad for the Pirates because they spend all their time beaming players
you're
for pimping home runs.
You're right. But I thought that was funny. They totally took all these former Pirates pitchers that are in the league on different teams. And they had like insane stats.
All right.
So hitting players is a big news topic.
Yes, it is. Last week, this week, I don't know what to say.
Whenever you listen to this, sometime in 2021,
Conforto for the Mets ended the game with a walk-off hit-by pitch against the Marlins. And for anyone who sees this, it is total BS.
BS. I agree.
It seems like it seems like something the NFL would do. Like, hey, it's not reviewable.
Yeah.
Like, well, dude, come on, just
they
hit
reviewed it.
I don't think they could review the
they
call.
couldn't overturn it.
Yeah.
They couldn't overturn the call.
It's a total NFL move. It's like, well, we
So-
know we fucked up, but we can't do anything about it. You
The
know?
only thing they could review was that if it actually hit him, when it did hit him. But
Okay.
they couldn't review if he leaned in or not.
So
That
for
was what it
those
was.
listening, was it bases
Mets.
juiced?
Yeah.
2 outs,
Bottom of the ninth.
bottom of the ninth, and the pitcher throws a high inside, according to pitch tracks, a strike. Conforto leans in with his right elbow, takes it off the elbow. The umpire proceeds to ring him up on strike 3, and then Conforto's pointing at his elbow, and the umpire then says, "Oh, it hit him. Take first base.
Game over.
Game over. Walk off." Which, for one, I always thought if you lean into it on purpose anyway, you can't call it a hit by pitch.
Yeah.
On 2, it was a strike.
Yeah.
You can't put your body in front of the strike zone and take a base. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
You already got rung up, so the umpire should have known in the process of ringing him up, literally like throwing the game-ending, not the game-ending, but the, bases loaded clearing strikeout arm throw.
Go
You
to
know,
extras.
you know that took a lot of energy to like stop that mid strikeout and say take first base. Like, come on, you got to be better than that as a major league umpire. I think everyone knows that they messed up and they just can't do anything about it. And umpires probably feel pretty bad about it.
So this might be a good conversation. How come you can't be hit if you lean into the strike zone, but you can be hit if it bounces off the ground and hits you?
It's gonna hit you.
If it bounces off the ground and hits you, it's not a hit by pitch.
If it's a strike zone, you can't like lean into the strike zone.
And
Where would the pitcher have to throw it?
But
You
what
can
if
just
that's
lean
where
in
I'm
and pick it?
comfortable at, is standing
No,
like
so there-
really
there-
close to
no,
the strike zone?
So there's
Close is different than
so the MLB has rules about leaning like in the strike zone though, and like actually having your batting stance in the strike zone. For instance, like Anthony Rizzo probably gets as close as he can without it being like illegal in the MLB's book. So he was like is like leading the league in hit by pitches since he entered the league because he stands really close. He like crowds the plate. But you can crowd the plate and still not be in the strike zone. And it has happened to him before where his elbow has been in the strike zone. He's happened a couple of times where he's gotten called for a strike. More likely, he swings at a pitch and it hits him, and then he gets a strike that way. That's more likely than what happens. That's how I know the season begins, is when Rizzo swings at a pitch that hits him. That's how I know the season officially. It's already happened this year once. So, but there is rules. Like, you can't be touching the plate. You can't be within a certain amount of your feet. Can't be so close to the plate. And I think you can't be, like, just posted up with your hands like inside the strike zone. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
like
you could literally go in like what is people called in Call of Duty? Juggernauts.
Yeah.
You go in as like a juggernaut suit in and just put your arms over the strike zone.
Yeah.
And just let it ricochet off your forearm and take
Yeah.
base. If that was not a rule.
Did you see Jonathan India get hit?
Right in the helmet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was scary.
It kind of grazed him though, so
Oh,
he
did
was
it?
he was good. He was good. I'm sure it's probably like one of those things where you don't know what the hell happens for a second.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god, it hit me in the head.
it was like when Chapman got hit with the ball,
Oh, that was
but
bad.
like where he was pitching,
was
obviously.
bad.
Dude, you know they had to peel his whole face off to do
did.
surgery?
He got hit. I think it was like 109 off the bat, right to his head.
Who was that?
Aroldis Chapman.
Aroldis Chapman. They had to do like
When was this?
emergency surgery. Literally, like at his hairline, they made an incision all the way across, pulled his whole face off to fix his skull fracture.
When was this?
It was probably like his last 2
Spring
or 3
training.
years.
Spring
With the
training.
Reds.
Oh no, I remember that. That was forever ago.
It was with the Reds.
No, I remember that. Yeah, that was insane. I heard about
Yeah,
that.
it didn't get the publicity that it deserved because it was spring training and all the footage was kind of shit. Mm-hmm. But it was brutal.
Yeah, no,
Really
I remember
bad.
that.
Really bad. But that's everyone's work. I mean, there's multiple cases every year of like little leaguers that get cardiac arrest after they get hit in the chest.
Yeah.
Pitching.
Well, they
And-
were at the end of high school baseball. They were making the catchers wear the shirts underneath their chest protector that had a extra guard around their heart.
I don't think that's bad. My varsity year or senior year of high school, our parents got the vote on if we had to wear a helmet while we pitched.
Really?
And thank God our parents are actually cool and said that we don't have to wear the helmets when we pitch, because as I can easily see how they're useful and they would probably prevent less concussions for high schooler baseball players, they look so lame, dude.
You'd be like a third
You're
base
getting
coach.
No respect on the pitcher's mound with the freaking helmet on, dude. So I'm personally
Have you
glad
seen the padded hats? They're
I
trying to.
have.
So they, like-
they're still ugly.
Yeah, they are.
They're
ugly.
still
So
ugly.
the hats just look bigger, essentially. They look like big, bulky billboard hats, kind of, but they have padding in them. And I was watching a guy who got hit in the head, an MLB pitcher, like ruined his career. Like he couldn't pitch after that. And he was talking about it, and he said, "Yeah," he goes, "I can see how this would help," but he goes, "I got hit right in the temple, and this would not have stopped it. Because this like protects just like my cranium, like the skull part." And the guy got hit in the temple with a pitch. He goes, "It literally would have done nothing."
I would actually be for it if they made a rule that kids had to wear helmets when they pitched.
Yeah.
So we'll just use high school for an example. We had a pretty good player that went and played D1 baseball, but like I'm sure you pitched against him. Did he ever rocket one back at you? Like, do you have time to think about it before you catch it, or is it just like you get so lucky with your reaction, like you just catch it?
It's different when you're playing high school ball. And
Right,
a
but-
rocket is like 92 miles an hour, 90 mile an
Well,
hour.
that's why I use that guy as
when
an
you're
example.
playing MLB,
Right.
And 109, 112, 115 is like the top of the spectrum.
Right, but that's not what I'm
There's-
asking.
there's
Like,
no time.
But like he was the closest to a competitive baseball player. Like that's what I'm trying to ask is like if he rocketed one back at you, is it more like I'm asking you, is it more of a reaction or do you just get lucky to stop the ball with your glove?
If it's
as a
if
pitcher.
it's hit that hard, it's by you before you can really react.
Okay.
And most pitchers, if you are a kid and you're listening to this, you should probably form your like the end of your pitching to actually be in a fielder's position, because I feel like a lot of kids probably model their pitching after like a pro pitcher, and none of them do it. Mm-hmm. Like they all finish with the big leg kick and comes over, and they're not in a position to field. Which I guess modeling behind the Major League Baseball players not bad, but
So here's what you do. If you're
there's
in
no
Little League,
reaction.
if you're in
you get
Little
hit,
League and you don't want to get hit, here's what you do. You throw. So you do what Jake said. You end up as like in a fielding position. So if I'm right-handed, I'm coming with my right hand, my right foot's ending, and I'm square to get ready with my glove ready. To give you more reaction time, you only throw knuckleballs. You're throwing little knuckleballs in there. It gives you enough time to set up. All right, I'm ready to guard my face. This comes back at me. Oh, but ding, I got it. Right, just throw knuckleballs.
basically, if you're listening, don't take any risks. Risks are bad, and we want to keep you safe and in a bubble at least until
you know what? Just don't play
COVID
baseball.
blows
All right.
over.
Just don't play baseball.
We're moving on.
It's unsafe. Just don't play baseball.
Moving on, MLB, last MLB here for those MLB lovers, but they came out with their power ranking. We'll just surf through this really fast. 1, Dodgers, 2, Padres, 3, Astros, 4, Braves, 5, Twins, 6, Yankees, 7, Rays, 8, Cincinnati Reds, 9, White Sox, 10, Angels.
Angles. You put angles.
You did put
Oh, did
angles.
I?
That's all right, though.
Okay, Angles. 10 is Angles, and the Cubs all the way down at 20. What do you guys think about this?
It's pretty accurate.
It's very early, so
I think for right now, all teams are playing. It's pretty accurate.
yeah.
Okay. I have something to say.
Ballsy. That's surprising for Griff to say. Cubs at 20. I think that's accurate.
I think they're not playing well. Like they literally lost 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. So,
Yeah, but look, their lineup's solid. And
the lineup is solid.
They got their pitching. Who's their first?
The
their
Pirates
two
beat the
starters.
Cubs?
2 out of 3.
Oh, my goodness.
The Cubs like beat them pretty easily the first game, and the second 2 games we couldn't hit. So it was literally Chris Bryant getting hits, and the rest of the team like striking out, except for one Javi Baez home run. So they haven't been able to hit the ball. They have the second worst batting average in baseball. It is still really early, like I said. So I told you, Jake, they hit like 3 home runs that one game, the first game against the Pirates, and they were the lowest batting average in baseball. And then it went up to 25th batting average after that game where they got a bunch of hits. Now they're back down to like second to last or last. So it's literally it's still really early, obviously. But as far as where we're at with 9 games in the season, I mean they're not performing well. They're playing bad. They're not hitting the ball. If they can hit the ball, they'll be a lot better team. They'll still be able to challenge for the Central because it's still super early. But their hitting was bad the last 3 games, with the exception of that one game. And then their pitching really wasn't great the last 2. They gave up they lost like 8-1 and 7-1 to the Pirates. The Pirates were like cracking their pitchers. They had one guy who first outing gave up 1 earned run over 8 innings, and then he played the Pirates and gave up 7 runs in 1.2 innings. So that's hard to come back from in general. But yeah, they're not playing well right now. So they're definitely not a top 10 team as of right now. I think they have talent on their team for sure. They can still win.
My opinions on the list is I hate with all my guts that the Astros are 3. They damn well deserve to be there, but it pisses me off. The Rays, I'm not sure if they're that good. They lost some pitching. I mean, they were that good last year. Are they that good this year? I'm not sure. The White Sox, maybe getting gypped at 9, maybe swapped the White Sox with 9, Rays at 7. I love seeing the Angels up at 10. I said it at the beginning of the year, the Angels, it was kind of like me saying it because I wanted it to happen, that the Angels would be good. And they're starting out hot. Ohtani's hitting so many dingers. And the Cincinnati Reds at 8, which is glows my heart up. Just the most beautiful thing in the world. And I'm not sure it's going to last. So let's soak it in. Let's look at this top 10 and just stare down the Cincinnati Reds at number 8 and enjoy it.
So I wanted to say, off of Griff's point, it's very early in the season. I was super excited seeing the Reds go on that run. Obviously, 160 games is not sustainable, but hopefully they can keep it up winning.
It felt like it, though.
Yeah, it did. It did.
After 6 in a row, you're like, we're never losing. We're going streaking.
And then we get
they were
no hit
cracking
to
the ball.
7th inning.
They were cracking the ball, that's for sure, in that run.
We're going streaking.
So I want to say this. I want to point this out. Not to cause an argument, but just to say something. So, in that list, 5 teams are very high above league average in payroll, and 5 teams are at or around, or at or lower than league average in payroll. Isn't that kind of
Did you
crazy
look
to
this
think?
up or no?
Yeah, in 2021.
So we got Dodgers high, Padres high.
So I have them right here.
Astros high.
Dodgers first, Padres
Yankees
8,
high.
Astros 4th, Yankees
Angels super
2nd,
high.
Angels 6th. And then the Braves are 14th, Twins are 16th, Rays are 26th, Reds are 17th, and White Sox are 15th. and the Cubs are
Okay,
at
so
12.
it's like middle of the pack, upper tier, and then the Rays.
Yeah, right.
Yep. I just want to say,
So Zach's gonna be rooting for the Rays all year.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Low payroll team coming in.
Bring him up.
I'm curious what the difference is between the Dodgers and Yankees, though, because I feel the Dodgers are spending like significantly more than Yankees too. I could be wrong. I know they're obviously the Yankees are spending a lot of money too, but I thought someone said like the Dodgers, like the gap between those two is like way bigger than it should be.
So,
like spending wise, I
mean,
could be wrong.
It's pretty big. The total payroll for the Dodgers is $247 million. I'll just round it up, and then the Yankees are $200 million.
$40 million. Wow, that's crazy.
$47 million more.
Dude, think about too with luxury tax, and like the Dodgers have got to be spending close to like $400 million this year after like luxury tax stuff.
Would you say Angels were 3?
The Angels are 6th at $181 million.
Dang, they're only 6.
Yeah.
God, they got some big contracts on there to be
They
6,
do.
don't they?
I know.
But I would be fine with I think the Rays have done a damn good job. I don't know how they keep getting these pitching.
Dude, the Rays are only at 69.
They
Now they're
also
last now. Yeah, that was the guy I was thinking.
lost pitchers because they didn't want to pay them. So
I know.
$69 million is their payroll.
Yeah,
And they're in the top
'cause
10.
They didn't want
That's
to play.
crazy.
They didn't want to pay Blake Snell. That's why they let him go. And so I saw the funniest tweet, honestly, and it honestly was funny. Whether you're a salary cap guy or not, Zach, I think it's funny. But Wander Franco, number 1 recruit in base, or not recruit, but number 1 prospect in baseball. So his first pitch at bat in spring training this year, he just hit a bomb like 450 feet. And like the first reply was like, "Wow, can't wait to see him play for my Rays, and can't wait till he inevitably leaves for the Yankees in 4 years because we won't pay him or something like that." I thought it was funny. So
anyways, I like it. I think that's it. I'm just happy that the Reds are 8.
Yeah.
And I think so far it's pretty good. I wouldn't say that the Cubs are 20. I think they're too talented to be 20.
I think if you're going off talent wise, yeah, for sure. But I think they're just going straight off just how the teams are playing right now, record wise, and that I agree with. Talent wise, I would say yeah, they're definitely higher than 20.
Well, I don't know because they had the Reds at 19, I believe, after the first like 4 games, and the Reds were 3-1, and they had them at 19th. I was like, ooh.
Before the Cubs went on this little skid, right? Because they started the season out 3-1, and they had the Cubs at like 9. Now they're down at 20. So it's super early. I mean, let's wait like
This list is going to look completely different besides the Dodgers, Padres, and Astros.
Well, screenshot it, buddy.
But
Wait
actually,
a month.
most of these top 10 teams are pretty good teams. Minus maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Padres winning it all.
But last weekend is the weekend of the Masters.
It was.
So this is what all the memes come together to make one big golf meme weekend of the Masters.
All the golf accounts get their memes for the year from the Masters. So I probably am the only one in here that watched the Masters.
I watched it.
Did you watch it on Sunday or?
I watched Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. So did you watch it at all?
I did not.
Okay. So really the only notable thing to talk about that probably could have affected the outcome of the game was how do you say his last name?
Matsuyama.
And
Shoffley. Xander Shoffley.
So Xander Shoffley lost $533,000 on one hole for using the wrong club. Can you believe that?
What do you mean he used the wrong club?
So
He used the wrong club yardage wise?
Yeah. So him and his caddy both agreed that he needed to use an 8-iron. It was a short par 3, the 16th hole. Used an 8-iron, came up way short. Probably could have used like a 6 maybe to give him a chance. But yeah, dude, $533,000. And so the reason why that's so big is because Matsuyama on hole number 15, he flew the green like pretty bad, hit it into the water, dropped, and somehow was only to come out with a bogey. So after 15, Xander was only down by 2 strokes. And the way that Matsuyama was playing, he wasn't playing very clean. Balls left and right of the fairway. Chipping was bad, and it was just ugly. Like, Xander probably could have came out and won it. But he was going into 16, 2 strokes behind. He triple bogeyed a par 3 and could have walked away with $1.2 million in second place, but ended up tying for third place and walked away with still a lot of money, $667,000, but $1.2 million.
Yeah, but you're thinking of it the wrong way. The guy in third place did absolutely nothing and got a bonus because
Zalatoris, the dude they were making fun of Happy Gilmore memes about. Did you see that, Jake?
No, it was Jordan Spieth.
Is that
No.
a long time ago when he was like a long ball hitter?
No.
He's drinking beers.
No, I'm talking about Zalatoris got second, right?
Yeah.
He's like a 24-year-old like rookie, or he was a former amateur,
Mm-hmm.
but he got second place. And if you remember the caddy, Happy Gilmore's caddy from the little
Oh, I
blonde-haired
did see
kid,
that,
it looked just like him growing up. And everyone, and even Adam Sandler like tweeted at him and said, "I'm rooting for you, buddy." He goes, "You can always be Happy's rooting for you," or something like that. "You can always come back and be my caddy." And he responds that it would be an honor to be your caddy again, Happy, or something like that. And it's not the same person, but it looked just like him.
And he's probably like, what, 130 pounds maybe?
Oh yeah, he's like 6'3", like 130 pounds soaking wet.
And so
He's super skinny.
I saw a
and small.
meme. It's like this big like bicep flexing. And it was like the Masters, and then it was the SpongeBob flex with like his little bicep. And what was his name?
Zalatoris.
Yeah, and it was like Zalatoris. And he was like, "I'm flexing on the Masters, bro."
It was awesome. He played actually really, really good too. I love the false hope he gave himself because he basically had to have Hideki like triple bogey to go to extra holes. Once he was done, obviously 30 minutes before him. So he's sitting there like just kind of watching on TV, and then Hideki goes to the last hole. He's got to triple bogey it or else he wins. And you just see Zalatoris there hitting warm up shots on the driving range, the practice range. Like come on, dude. What if? And then eventually the guy goes, "I need you to come in here. You gotta watch the end of this, and we gotta talk, like do an interview." He's like, "Oh, okay." And he went away in there and just watched Hideki like par it and win. So
I will say that of our 3 picks, none of them won because this is the second Japanese player to win the Masters in the history of the Masters.
I thought it was the first one they said.
That was the second.
That's
I was
kinda
looking.
crazy.
I swear they said it was the first Japanese-born guy.
Maybe
Look it up. So
Coming
he's
from a country that literally like breeds.
it might be the second Asian-born, but I swear he's the first Japanese-born. He's won at Augusta before, but he won like the Pro-Am. It's like the Euro-Asian Pro-Am tour there. So it's like all when he was an amateur, all like a bunch of European and Asian people like that were on that Pro-Am or that amateur tour. He won that before when he was like 10 years ago. 10 years ago when he was an amateur, he won at Augusta.
I would think Japan would be a country that's like really good at golf because it seems like they have people and they like designate them to be really good at something, and they like work their whole life up to it. Like I could see them designating like tons of people to be super good at golf.
No, he was
They're
freaking
just
good the other
destroying
day.
Americans.
He was freaking good.
Was he good?
He was super good. He just like was the most consistent. He never had a day where he was like -10 or something like we saw last year with Dustin Johnson had that record day. But every single day he just lower and lower and lower. Like he was just like super consistent throughout.
I wish I could find that thing. I want to say I knew he was the second, maybe Asian player to win.
Maybe he was Asian born, yeah. But I know he was the first Japanese because they were asking him how much this means to his country. They go, "You're never gonna." I don't know who it was. Freaking some golf guy. He was like, he's never have to buy a cup of sake again in Japan or something like that. Yeah. But he, I want to talk about this dude too. He's super chill guy, Matsuyama. He wins the green jacket and everything like that. And then he was spotted at the airport today flying home to Japan, or yesterday. No, yeah, today flying home to Japan. And he's in the airport in Georgia and Atlanta, just kind of walking through the airport. Right hand pulling a suitcase, left hand with the Masters jacket all scrunched up in his hand, just kind of walking. And I was like, oh man, all these golf old heads are so pissed off right now. I go, that is history right there. That jacket means something. He's
Disrespect.
like holding it how you'd hold like your jacket you just kind of took off and was just holding it. Like not even like nice. He's just got it all scrunched up in his hand, just kind of walking by. It's like that. And I know all these golf old heads were so pissed off just seeing him do that. Look, the actual green jacket and everything just like scrunched up in his hand.
So from someone who didn't watch the Masters, the only thing I took out of it is all the ugly Nike shirt
Yeah, there's a lot.
memes out there.
don't know
It was
if
like
you saw-
someone hit a hole in one. He's like, this poor guy has to rewatch himself hit a hole in one in that shirt all for like the rest of his life.
I don't know if you saw Koepka's first round what he was wearing, but he was like very, very, very highlighter pink. Like highlighter pink Nike hat, pink shirt, like just like super like it looked like it was like glowing. It was so highlighter. It was like insane.
So I saw this, but Billy Casper, don't know. Let's see here. I just pulled it up. Hold on. He won in 1970. He buried himself in his green jacket.
Wow.
Like that was his attire in his casket.
I would do it.
Matsuyama was carrying it around like it was
Like it was just dirt.
that he got too drunk the night before and puked on it. He was just carrying it because he didn't want to hold it and got to take it to the washer.
That's funny. All right, boys. We got anything else?
I got nothing.
All right, Jake. Get us out of here.
Wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Make sure you go listen on Thursday for our non-sports edition that we're going to drop. Go follow our Instagram and YouTube. And you guys are beautiful. Thanks for listening.
We're out.